Black Clover Chapter 361 is another example of Tabata taking all of our questions and expectations and just absolutely subverting them with no hesitation or any remorse.
No, I can't laugh yet. I've got to hold it in.
The question of where were the Black Bulls headed to find Asta and how would Asta be brought back to the Clover Kingdom? We got both of those answers, and the power creep that we saw here with Vanessa, the Witch Queen, and Dorothy is absolutely real, but it also makes a lot of sense that these three are working together, as broken as they are, especially when you look at the potential inspiration behind these three working together in the way that they are. However, with my initial thoughts out of the way, let's back things up a bit and let's jump into the recap portion of the review for the chapter that feels like it's about to start rushing us towards the climax of this arc, barring another big plot twist. So the chapter opens up with Yuno having landed his attack on Lucius and thinking that he's done the impossible, that he's defeated the Wizard King in front of everybody, but unbeknownst to Yuno, Lucius has deployed his handy dandy trap card, because when he looks up Lucius is alive and well and tells him that because he uses soul magic, body magic, blood magic, and bone magic, he's pretty much unstoppable, and states that he can clone himself. It's at that point that Lucius flexes on Yuno by making a large number of clones, and the building begins to crumble, and Lucius has his mandatory villain internal monologue where he says that despite them being beyond anything that he's ever expected for them, he's still going to accomplish his goal, and he even verbally says that Yuno was indeed a powerful and formidable foe. We even see Lucius pull an Aizen from Bleach and a Madara from Naruto, just as Aizen famously said, "Since when were you under the impression that I wasn't using my Kokyo Suigetsu?" And Madara said, "What will you do with the second meteor?" Lucius just casually says, "Who said anything about two?" before revealing he has a large number of clones about to gang up and attack Yuno. There's flexing, and then there's a flex like this. Not all flexes are created the same, and the fact that Lucius referred to Yuno in the past tense, it's just downright disrespectful, and I love it. I love Lucius. This is actually a very clever implementation of the plan that he put out. It's at this point that all the fodder, they gathered around the battlefield, and they are now losing hope. But Noelle makes it known that there's no reason for hope to be lost right now, and we shift over to Vanessa, who, side note, Vanessa and fan service is something that we're definitely used to, but Jesus Christ, Yami is a better man than me. That's all I'm gonna say. Now, jokes aside though, Vanessa and the Black Bulls begin speaking with the Witch Queen, and Vanessa begins to ask for a favor, and the Witch Queen just totally in character says, "Hey, I already know that you were gonna be coming and that you're gonna ask me for a favor." She informs them that Asta is alive, which makes the Black Bulls suddenly cheer, but she says that he's too far away in a land that she can't actually summon him from, and that's when Dorothy steps in with her Mimosa moment. Just how Mimosa said, to paraphrase it, magic can do anything. Dorothy basically says that they're going to summon Asta, and they have no choice but to do so because Asta is part of the future that Lucius cannot read, and by extension, he's the key to their hopes for victory. And as a result of this, Finral's making a very exhausted and flabbergasted expression because he makes a pretty funny joke about what the actual magic circle that they created actually looks like. Now, Dorothy then goes on to say that if the three of them, Vanessa, herself, and the Witch Queen, work together, they can summon Asta, to which the Witch Queen agrees since the literal world, the fate of it is riding on it. The Witch Queen then passively aggressively brings up that this is the first time that she's actually seen Dorothy visit the forest since she left the forest without permission, and Dorothy just laughs it off. It's then that the door of destiny opens up, and Dorothy says that the spell they're going to use will allow them to meet the one person they want to meet the most, and we see out here Asta beginning to make his triumphant return. So the first thing that stands out here is that Yuno is indeed strong. Nobody can take that away from him, and I gotta say, God, Yuno has leveled up to way more higher than what the Supreme Devil warned Lucius was going to be the case, because this is Lucius after he's already eaten Lucifero's heart, so he should be way more powerful than before, which puts into perspective how well Yuno did before this actually happened with the whole clone reveal, and how he will continue to do when Asta makes it to the battlefield, and we get that rivalry boost. Now, the other thing that we can take away from this is that Lucius with the gravity magic is far superior to both Dante Dante and Lucifer. That throne that Lucius is floating that high up in the sky in, where he's perched up on his throne, so disrespectful by the way, is the height of arrogance and the height of anime villain flexing, compared to how we've seen some other villains in Black Clover where they just kind of mindlessly rambled in and they weren't super clever. To see what Lucius is doing here, he's more than living up to the hype of being the final villain in my opinion. Now, I can see why this will annoy some people though. Yuno was just being built up as being this Wizard King level boss, but Lucius pulling this troll move like he does, it doesn't take away from Yuno's power level in my opinion. It just confirms something that we've already known for a very long time. When it comes to Wizard King power level, there are tiers to being in that Wizard King level of power. For Yuno, all the growth that he's had is merely strong enough to take down one of Lucius' clones, but we needed to feel that despair for Yuno as a character and to see the morale of all those who are fighting alongside him against all the other paladins begin to fall, because we're getting to Asta at the end of the chapter and he's approaching the battlefield where things are going to take a swing. So you needed to set the stage up for Asta, our anti-magic hero, to come in using his new power, which we're going to touch on in a moment. This is even more so of a question when we don't even know if Lucius has another transformation or even potentially more devil souls as well. The one thing that we know about Lucius is that the man has a few trump cards that he will play when the time is right. The other thing that stands out about Lucius is that him being able to clone himself is actually low-key foreshadow, because the Midnight Sun already had access to cloning technology, so we know that the concept of cloning exists in Black Clover. However, Lucius being able to clone himself without the aid of technology is more than impressive. But it's because we've already seen cloning in the series beforehand that we should have seen this as being a potential possibility for Lucius, especially given that Tabata has been pulling in a lot of stuff from prior arcs already. We've already had people from the Underwater Temple arc come back, and now you got the Witch Queen from the Witch Forest arc. He's tying together loose ends very well here. Yuno is about to get jumped on, and it's only a matter of time. Might as well brace yourself for it. Now, speaking of waiting for the right time, the Witch Queen is another interesting character because of her power of foresight. It also makes me wonder if there was a chance that she saw this potential outcome, and that might have played a role in the unspoken reason for why she's behaved the way that she did with the witches in her forest, trying to keep them in one place, potentially to say protect them if this is the worst outcome that she saw that could happen with the Wizard King. We know that she can see into the future, but it's not 100% accurate. But here's the thing, if we learn that she saw a potential future outcome of Lucius trying to destroy the world, I won't be shocked, because again, her ability to see the future is not 100%. I think there's something else cooking here. Tabata just happens to have three powerful witches that parallel the three fates from Greek mythology, and given Tabata doesn't just use Asian folklore and mythology, but he also uses stuff from other cultures, I don't think this is crazy. Dorothy, Vanessa, and the Witch Queen, they're basically the three fates. Vanessa is Klothos, the fate who has the spinner, and Vanessa has thread magic. Dorothy is the Aladdin fate. She's the one who dreams, and she's the one who sets up the ritual we see in the chapter. The Witch Queen is the fate who cuts the thread of fate, and she's literally seeing the end of threads of fate with her foresight powers, even though it's not always accurate. This does feel like we're seeing the destinies of several characters, the fates of several characters being interlinked right now, and I don't think that that's by mistake, nor do I think it's by mistake of Tabata going through and making a parallel with those three Greek fates from Greek mythology. And you also have Asta being a chaos disruptor for everything. Ryuya has his eye powers to see things. The Witch Queen has her foresight. Case in point, her seeing the emergence of Vanessa's fate magic at one point. Lucius has his foresight to see into multiple timelines. Asta is the one thing that all three of these characters have in common, because they've all interacted with Asta to some degree. The shared ability to see things is actually making me wonder if there's a greater link, and it's making me wonder again, like I said last chapter, is there another force pulling the strings here to ensure that Lucius is going to be defeated? However, the emergence of the Witch Queen is also interesting, just given that in some of the stories, witches and devils, they have a link together. Some witches are able to maintain their youthful appearance by making elixirs out of their own blood, and we see that the Witch Queen, she hasn't actually aged, but so too did the Dark Triad not actually age. But I think that that might be going a bit far, because if she's working with Lucius, then why would she agree to help him? But I did think it was a fair enough point to bring up how much Tabata has actually dived into demonology the last few years that you can't ignore that. So I think that Vanessa saying that the Witch Queen is her only help to try and find Asta is a sign that the Witch Queen, she isn't necessarily a good person, but she isn't necessarily evil nor good. She's just teaming up with them because it's the lesser of two evils, and Asta is their chance to defeat Lucius. I think the other thing we have to keep in mind is that at the end of the chapter, Asta appears to know that he's returning to the Clover Kingdom, which is different than all the other times we saw him in the Land of Sun. He was like that little kid who was always on road trips saying, "Are we there yet?" repeatedly. He keeps bringing up wanting to return to the Clover Kingdom when we see him in the Land of Sun, and Ryuya basically told him more than once, "Hey, just chill out, get your time in a train, make yourself stronger. I'll let you know when that time comes, but that time's not right now." Ryuya had to have known about this very moment, which again makes me think there's another force at hand navigating all these events to make sure that Asta remains safe. The other thing we have to keep in mind is that the Asta we're about to see and is about to come back, he's coming back busted. He's had days to train and get better using Zedden. He's seen the people in the Land of Sun have that weird transformation that we saw Ichika do, so I don't rule out a Devil Union Zedden transformation for Asta as a trump card against Lucius, who hasn't shown his full power yet. However, I'm going to ask this chapter question, you guys, which is, do you guys think there's another power at play here?